Sound like you had a pretty chill weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I needed it.
Well,
It's always interesting. You go on the road, you do all these things. Days are long. You wake up, you have things to do. You're pretty much doing stuff all day, and then you get home, you get to the hotel, take a shower, fall asleep, do it again. And I have pretty good stamina for this type of lifestyle. The number of trips that I've done, especially this year, you get used to flying, sleeping in hotels, whatever. But when you do come back, the body, like I think about this just in life, like the body will find the energy that's needed to get through the task that's required. But when it's given the opportunity to rest and recover, it will do that too. And I've been happy with the activity I've had since getting home. I worked out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I played disc golf Saturday, Sunday. Went to the gym today. So been getting active every day. But I've been sleeping a lot, eating good food that I have control over, but good quantities of it. And yeah, just kind of taking advantage of these kind of 2 weeks at home before hitting the road again.
Yeah. What's up, pool boy?
Hopefully, Mike, man. Thoughts are with you, Mike.
Seemed like he had a good weekend. Had the late his lady came up to visit, so that was good for him. So
wow, she's leaving. She's going to Australia for a 6-month deployment there. So
yeah,
a little
marine deployment
workout, whatever. And she was wearing the B.Friendly shirt. So Mike and Julia, good people.
Speaking of good people, look at this guy. Are you eating?
Nope.
I'm
not eating chocolate. No, I'm sorry.
Oh, of course. Norwegian and then chocolate. Nice.
That's okay, Roger. John Young has made it okay to eat on podcasts. Now everyone's doing it.
Yeah, I like that chocolate. Sorry.
That's all right.
Not sorry, but yeah.
No.
I like that shirt you're wearing.
Oh.
You wear that one a lot, don't you?
That's the Miami edition.
I have 2 of those. One is a little more thin one, and one is more like thicker material. So that's really nice. Yeah, I like it.
Very good.
I like it. It's like nice colors, and it's not white. It's like bone white, yellow-ish.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Nice description. Yeah. I'm impressed with that description. I would have said off-white, but bone white is very good.
Bone white. I like that. Nice. Yeah. Nice.
Old white, bone white, something. You guys good?
We're good. Good. If you guys do not know, this is Roger Gillros. He is Swedish, but lives in Norway. And he is the man when it comes to competitive CrossFit scene in those countries, Norway and Sweden primarily. Some athletes from Denmark may come up there for the competitions, and maybe a few other countries at some of the events. But primarily it's Sweden and Norway is where the competitions are held. We're going to kind of talk today about how he got started in that and what he's learned over the last several years doing this. He runs a lot of people who who may run competitions the way that Roger does, do 1, 2, maybe 3 a year. Wow, what a great picture there. Mm-hmm. And
that's probably Roger, when you gave him the shirt.
Yeah, something like that. And Roger, you were running 6 a year now on average?
We run actually 5, that is our own, and then we work and helping out other ones like 2 to 3 to 4 events. Yeah, that's just old backside, so don't mind that one.
At least 5 that you're like the overseer of, and then integrate with some others in the area year to year. Fair to say?
Yeah, exactly.
The Throwdown events, this is the company that owns the competitions, is that right?
Yeah, and that Instagram page is need for an update. I see. we don't really use that one anymore. But
it exists, but it's not you kind of drive things towards the primary competition pages.
Competition, yeah.
It's something that many people try to tell me, like, you should just have one page, but when you have those many events that we have chosen to have because of how it works in Scandinavia, according to us, and it's 5 a year, we need to be able to communicate our messages for those who are interested in that specific competition, and that's why we have one page per event right now. Yeah, and it's a lot of work to do, but I think to get the messages and to clarify, not make it mistake to mix them up, we needed to continue with one page each. So there is 5 events that is for 2024.
Yeah, these
Wow.
are the five primary ones. I was there for Halmstad Throwdown last year, competed in it,
Oh,
helped out a
yeah.
little bit, but I've got to throw down there with
Mm.
Alex, great guy,
Yeah.
and partner of yours. And then I will be coming for Norwegian Throwdown this summer, which I'm pretty excited about. And pending some other competition dates, maybe make it back there for Oslo Throwdown. But which of these 5 competitions will happen first this year?
It's a Sweden Throwdown. It's the yellow one.
And that one is it's in the spring, right?
Yeah, it's really early spring, almost still winter here somewhere.
Like mid-April.
Yeah, so it's mainly inside events. We have been outside a little bit, but mainly inside because it could be snow as well. So,
and I just kind of want to give people the feel for how these competitions evolve over the year, and then I ask you some questions about that. So you got basically the first one happens in April, and then when is the next one after that?
It's in the first weekend of July. It's the Norwegian Throwdown. It's our oldest one, kind of the one that is another different logo. That's the one that got sanctional for the sanctional event.
Mm-hmm. I remember that one.
So that's the one that people may be familiar with from that 2019-2020 time period. Roger, I actually met you that year. We were in Dubai. Chase and Bill were doing the live stream. I was pulled in to do a producer role in the truck because the producer left on day number 1 for whatever reason. And you were a guest on the live stream during that competition because you were down in Dubai. I don't know if you were watching, volunteering, learning, all of the above. Do you remember what you were there for?
I guess I got invited by Mohammed and Diego and CrossFit Nor Green to a little bit like, hey, you are new in this kind of scene. Let's try to get over. And they asked me if I could come, and I came, and they really took care of me, both the Dubai guys and CrossFit, and yeah. So it's like my first, I don't know, a little bit like meet the people and feel everything. So it was really nice.
And you've kind of made it a point since then to go out on the road when you can, to go to other competitions, either to volunteer, sometimes to MC, sometimes just to learn about what other competition organizers are doing. I remember Lowlands Throwdown, I think it was 2022. I showed up there walking around the venue, and I looked down. There's guys that are laying the floor, and Roger was one of these guys.
He had the boots on.
Yep.
You had to wear special boots.
Oh yes, we had to have it, all of us. Like safety first.
Yep.
What is the? Yeah, go ahead.
I was there. Robbie, the organizer, I met him many times, and he's a good friend of mine. And he asked me to be the MC for one of the floors, and I couldn't say no. And I came down early because I heard. Everybody, all organizers always need help. And if I could give them 1 day or 2 day extra, that would be probably a big thing for him and for the competition. And it was correct. I came down and just put the boots on and put the gloves on and start putting down floor and rigging and equipment. So, yeah.
And they're not kidding. Everyone had to wear those shoes. We actually had to go across the way into like a parking garage. They had a store there or something, check them in, check them out. Even just to walk around on the floors that day, you had to do it. And I think it's important to bring that up and for people to understand that why you do that, because this year you were in Miami, and I know that at least once a year, in addition to the 5 to 7 events that you're involved with organizing, you like to travel out there and see what's going on at other competitions. And what's the from your perspective, why do you enjoy doing that?
It's a lot of reasons. I don't know. I don't only visit the big ones. If I hear there's a competition like in neighborhood city and it's like a small affiliate competition with 100 athletes, me and my wife, we love CrossFit. The kids love CrossFit more, and if we can, we go there and learn, meet the people, meet the community, our athletes, our judges, our friends, and I always learn something, and I always answer some question from people that is like afraid of sending an email or DM, and they like, oh, there it is. Hey, could I ask a question about the level of that division or whatever? And it's like, it's the best marketing I can ever do. Just be around and available. And I think people that kind of met me, they know that anyone can always come up and ask questions about anything, and I will always respect them. I will never. I will. All question is good, and the more question I get, the better I can communicate to eliminate that question for next time. And I always help out. Like I say, it's this thing like doing my part, and if I could help somewhere to keep this CrossFit competitions or functional fitness competition going on, because it's tough for organizers to be able to survive. And if anyone could help me like a half an hour or 1 hour or 20 minutes, that would be a huge difference. Look at Miami. We were there when I was walking home on a Sunday. I passed by the Gauntlet Arena and I saw like it was raining as hell, and they're trying to pick that floor up, and it was so heavy because all of the water. And so me and Patrick, me and Alex, my friend, and Kenneth, we just jumped in, and I, you know who I found on the floor taking up flooring? Alfonso from Madrid, also
Alfonso
being there.
Chamorro, yeah.
I was like, hey buddy, two event organizers together with everybody else in the rain trying to pick up that last 50 square meters of floor. And I promise you, those guys and the people from 360 and everybody, they were really happy. And what? It cost me 20 minutes and I was going to get wet anyway. So don't be afraid of helping out. It means a lot for everybody, especially in the end of an event.
And don't be intimidated by Roger. He's like 6'10" and weighs 300 pounds, but he's a kind soul.
Yeah, I think so.
Gentle giant.
No, that's yeah. If you're not familiar who he's referring to, Alfonso Chamorro is the event organizer or competition organizer for the Madrid Championships. Mm-hmm. And really, this is when you think about competitions or organizations that have run many events in a year, there was that second year of sanctionals. Loud and Live was going to try to run 5 events over the course of the sanctional season, and in large part, I believe the way they were going to pull that off is because event organizers from each of those different competitions, Alfonso being one of them, a couple other guys down in Mexico, a few other people who work with Alfonso in Spain, and then Dylan Malitsky and his crew down there or in Miami or so. They all kind of help each other out. Like they would travel to one competition and do whatever was needed, whether it's laying floor, picking up floor type stuff, whether it's organizing scorecards for 1,000 athletes that are competing, stage managers on specific stages of competition, and kind of this there's this concept that's like going around in certain circles in the ecosystem now about helping everyone out, raising high tides, raising all ships sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But it's always been like that. And to see people that are in prominent positions being down there willing to do any job to help another friend out is something that you've emulated from the moment I met you.
Yeah, it's just like, and it's important for us to take that responsibility to spread the word and show, lead by example. And I enjoy it, even if it's hard, it's tough, and it's painful in the hands and everything. But you always end up in a nice conversation with someone, and you ending up with a new friend that you can visit whenever you want when you're in that person's neighborhood. Hey, it's you and me. We care flooring for an hour together, and it's something magical going on. The same thing when you enter an affiliate and it's a team of 2, and you're like, The coach said to you and you, okay, let's go, buddy, and you got a new friend for life. And I get so impressed. At the same time, I get sad sometimes that some of the new athletes and some of the new community, they don't really understand where we're coming from, and they don't really understand that we actually need to help out to be able to continue with this stuff we love, the competitions, because it's not easy for our event organizers to get everything done because we need so much staff. If we have 20 lanes, a full day of competition, we need like 40, 50 judges. In a full football game, the biggest game in the world, they have 6, and they have like 50,000 people paying $100 each, and and people compare to us. People compare to football. Hey, football judges get paid. Yep, they do. They need one.
Yeah, but there's billions of dollars being invested in that, whether it be football or soccer.
I meant soccer in this way.
Yeah.
Sorry, yes.
Either or.
Even more.
I mean, they're both billion-dollar worldwide sports. I mean, more soccer than football, but yeah, it's crazy. You mentioned me and Brian actually talked about this the other day. We're on a phone call. Is as you know, they're doing the Masters and the Teen on the same weekend, and what that does, I mean, already logistically that's a nightmare. But what that does is that, like you said, you have judges that normally would be at one of those events, but now you have to spread them out amongst 2 events, and it's during a holiday weekend in the U.S. where a lot of people take, it's a 4-day holiday weekend. So they're putting a lot of stress on this ecosystem of judges. Like, you in Norway, you have, in Scandinavia, in Europe, you have like a core group of judges that you can always depend on, volunteers. And it's the same here in the US. And now you're scheduling 2 major events, and then you're going to have to ask these judges to spread out or pick one. And not only that, but now you're going to put a lot of inexperienced volunteers and judges out on the floor. And I just think it's a major fail on CrossFit. And I'm not going to blame the event organizers too much on that, because they can only do what they can. I mean, whether it be, a facility being available only that day. I just think it's sad.
I think from my perspective, I hope that the organizers have been asked if, hey guys, what do you think? Is there any problem of having those events at the same weekend? And I think there's maybe a chance that the organizer says, oh no, they don't want to miss the chance. So maybe they no problems, we will solve it out. And as we always do, we kind of figure it out. But it's not the perfect figuring out, because the judging part is a really important part of the competition. And it's so easy to fuck it up, especially when you have those important events that it's a lot of things. It's a lot of people are spending a lot of money and stuff and training and time for going there, and that's why the judging part is so important. And I think it's tough, and I hope they figure it out and they have a good plan for it, because I know myself, I have events in Norway, and I have judges now waiting to give me an answer of if they can join one of my events in October, because they are waiting for the dates of Rogue.
Yeah.
Imagine it's what? Texas and Norway. It's and as judges, I have concerns of, will I get my elite judges that I need to my elite division? Because I don't know the date of Rogue yet. So maybe you guys do.
Well, no, it's
no, we don't actually.
No. This is actually a good
very good topic.
I am personally taking a massive interest in trying to lay out a calendar of especially big competitions around the world, 12 months ahead of time. We already have Actually, later this week, we'll do a show kind of previewing what our schedule, B.Friendly Fitness schedule, will look like for the next 12 months. But we have competitions booked all the way into next February. And it's good for people to understand that. And we're going to get there with your events, Roger, as well, that a lot of these competition organizers are thinking 1, 2, 3 years ahead of time in booking venues, dates, and they have like systems in place that work. I've never done any work with NorCal Classic, but months and months ago, they already announced their dates. They're going to be in September. Actually, they hadn't picked specific dates yet. They just said September. But then they put out a call for volunteers without even scheduling the dates, because those people who've been volunteering at that event for a long time, they're committed. Yep, we're in. Okay, it's in September. We'll block it off as soon as we know. They started having qualifiers, early registration. Like, the ball is rolling. And, Rogue stands alone as kind of a separate event because it hosts less athletes. There's not a bunch of divisions. There's a very, very select group of people who would be attempting to qualify for it. You need less judges, less people in general, and they have money available, so they can invest that how they want to, and they can be very specific. But their place in the season definitely affects the ecosystem. And no one's place in the season affects the ecosystem more than the CrossFit Games season. When is the Open going to be? When are the quarterfinals, semifinals, and CrossFit Games? And now CrossFit Games potentially on up to 4 different weekends. And the fact that they're a year behind almost everyone else in terms of that planning puts a massive stress on a lot of competition organizers around the world.
Yeah, many of those events are even licensed by CrossFit, and they're still like really in the same dates. One of Sweden Throwdown is the same date, same weekend as the individual quarterfinal, and that is something I didn't know. We booked the date like over 1 year ago. And that's like, for us, is we lose a big bunch of athletes, and they get stressed. Everybody gets stressed. My programmer Phil Haskett has his athletes. Now my head judge Henrik has his athletes at semifinal level and games level athletes, and I'm like losing half of my staff. Now I know Phil is gonna still be a part of the event and do his part, but it's still really, really, really stressful for everybody and for the athletes. And they missing them one of their community events they always love to do, and we lose a lot of. We have a lot of stress figuring out what to do and how to gain that loss in numbers of athletes to survive, because that is one really important event for us. And now we were so close, like shutting it down, because of we are afraid of not hitting our numbers to survive. It's not about making money, but right now for Sweden Throwdown, it's like not losing a lot of money. I still want to have it, and I hope, and I believe that I really, really hope that they actually have the dates. They are just sitting and holding on it because they are waiting for the right time or owning that time of surprise or whatever.
No, that's not the case. They are actually announcing the dates as soon as they have as they can. They just, for whatever reason, are slow to schedule those things relative to the rest of the CrossFit community around the world. And it's an interesting balance, because obviously there's a lot of conversation going on right now regarding the financial state of CrossFit as a company. And then there's this question that's existed for a better part of a decade now of how does the CrossFit Games relate to, integrate with, support, or detract from CrossFit, the methodology, the lifestyle, the business. I personally, and I think that all of us will agree, think that there's a strong positive correlation that competition existing in the space of CrossFit is good for the affiliates, the methodology, the lifestyle, and the spreading of that thing throughout communities around the world. And I'm not talking about the Rogue Invitational or the CrossFit Games exclusively. I'm talking about competitions. I'm talking about these local events, these regional events, these national events, these continental events that exist every weekend in different levels, and all of which, just like the pyramid that we're used to, and like those local events are the nutrition. The CrossFit Games is the pinnacle. That's the sport at the top. But all of those things are supporting it. And then at the end of the day, the top is pointing back to all of them and giving an opportunity to express the maximal expression with the potential, if done well, to have the maximal impact on piquing humans' curiosity about what is this thing that these people are doing that's so amazing.
And it's important. It's like it's the future of games are kind of building and growing from that part. Look at Matilda Garnes. One of her first competition was my competition in a box for 2017, and she won it from nowhere. And she got maybe some inspiration of, oh, I'm pretty good in this. And now she is a top athlete in the world, and we're now even paying for it, licensed by CrossFit.
And she's just, she's a unique example. But these exist. But probably in 2017, there were a group of friends of hers that were doing CrossFit to some extent, and many of them chose to go to that local competition, either to compete, to volunteer, or just to watch. And then that may, if it, sure, it could have been a catalyst in terms of self-belief that led to the next thing. And a few years later, she's at the CrossFit Games representing Norway, Europe, and competing there well. And but she was just one of many people that maybe gave that competition a chance. And then when she comes back from that, and everything she does forward from there impacts her community day in, day out, week after week, month after month, year after year. And this is happening all over the place. The last 4 competitions I did, 4 straight weeks, starting with Wadapalooza, ending in Spain, every competition had over 1,100 athletes there. 4 in a row at 4 different places around the world, 4 weekends in a row. That's the number of people that will put their money down to go compete at these things. But it relies on volunteers, ecosystem, and a lot of planning, which we are going to get to here with Roger. And I guess kind of just kind of wrap up this conversation is the CrossFit Games themselves have a massive, massive impact on the global competitive ecosystem. And I know that it would be hugely appreciated by many around the world if the CrossFit Games season was known not 6 months ahead of time, years ahead of time.
And what we're probably coming to, if they book the times and just decide the dates, it's much more easier to focus on the business side of everything. And you can relax, you can start working on actually financially finding out the way of doing it, because you don't have to. And I hope that it's not that big deal. You figure out the season, you put the dates down, and you book the venues, and you book whatever you need to do, and so now it's ready. I do it every year 5 to 6, 7 times, so I don't think I have the same sizes of arenas as CrossFit quarterfinals, semifinals of games. So guys, just focus on your thing to do and do it. So,
all right, so let's go back to the schedule. So we have Sweden Throwdown April, Norwegian Summer Throwdown July, and after that we have Halmstad Throwdown, which is at the beginning of October, Oslo Throwdown at the end of October, and then the Fitness Festivalen is the final one, which is beginning of December.
Yeah.
So that's the layout so that people can see this. 1 competition in April, 1 in the summer, 3 within 7 or 8 weeks of each other, maybe 9 weeks in the fall.
Yeah.
So it's February.
Yeah. My family loves that time.
Well, that's actually a super important part of what you do, is that you have a great support from your family in this.
I could never, ever, ever do it without my family, and I mean my whole family, from my dad to my mom to my sisters to my wife, my kids, to my wife's parents, sisters, brother, and my cousins, my uncle. Everybody's like kind of just grown into whatever we do, because they say like, fuck, I want to be part of that, because I'm happy. I'm meeting great people. I'm meeting smart people. I'm meeting people that gives me something, not only taking something. My uncle never trained in his life. I don't think he ever done a bench press, and he's like 65, 70 years old. And now he trained CrossFit. He started for 6 months ago, and he has never been more happier. And it's like, and that is, I have found a way of telling my mom to come to the competition. She loves watching CrossFit. But yeah, we bring our kids there all the time. Either my wife's family comes and take care of the kids and meets them, because we live in Norway, they live in Sweden. And otherwise, it's my side of the family comes and take care of the kids and have their time because they don't meet so much. Or both comes and it's a big family fest, and that's really good. That's really good for me. And then my wife Julia, who loves the CrossFit competitions, also doing media and Instagram and everything. She can relax more and just focusing on being a part of the company. She's also a part owner, so. And that I think is really, really important to build a good foundation of support from your family and friends. Then it's much more easy.
You said your uncle has started doing CrossFit now 6 months ago.
Yeah, Ronnie. Yeah, he did.
So that's got to be like pretty close to when I met him at Homestead Throwdown in September.
Yeah,
and I was shocked and impressed with what your dad and your uncle were doing there. When Roger says that his whole family is bought into this thing, they are core critical members of the equipment team. How old are they?
Yeah.
They're in their 60s?
67, 65 plus, both of them.
And they'll show up 2 days before competition? 1 day before?
3 days before, 2 days before, depending on the delivery. They are in charge of delivery and taking care of that it comes in time and emptying their trucks and putting everything on place and organizing everything before the gear crew comes. And the same thing in the end of the event. But during the event, they are also in working with the gear crew and working with everything. Like they have their part. They are like old guys, and if they get a chance to sit and laugh, they will sit and laugh. But when we need working, they are.
You can't find better workers.
No, my dad has always been a hard worker, and he was like when he stopped working, he got retired. He got so old so fast, and I got so scared. And I'm like, dude, buddy, daddy, you need to do something. You get a purpose of life. Oh no, I don't want. What should I do? And he came to the events and he started helping out. And he started with CrossFit, just for he likes training and do his bench press and stuff. But now he actually do classes and everything. And he's changed so much. And he got younger again. And then my uncle, he was like, "Can I join that? It looks fun." I need some purpose of life as well. And they now hanging out, they're traveling and coming to all our events, meeting so much people, having lots of new friends. And that's the competition that we are working on. And we are even not only the young people, but even recruiting the old senior, doing CrossFit 3 times a week and spreading the CrossFit methodology is amazing.
And is it your cousin or your nephew, Jonah?
Johan, yeah. That's his dad. That is his dad. So he's a runner. Then come to Norway, and I told hey, that's a funny story. He got no friends. He went to Norway and said like, "Hey buddy, you need friends." Yeah, where can I find it? I love to run. Just join a CrossFit box. But I don't like lifting. Just join it. You will love it. It will be good for your running. And now he has a lot of friends, and they do CrossFit 3, 4, 5 times a week, and so
it's on the other days.
Yeah, it's and he's also in charge of our equipment and organizing and stuff. So yeah.
Okay, Roger. So we got a pretty good kind of background here of what's going on. 5 events. How long have you been doing this? Running multiple events a year?
We started off 2017, 16, 17, just with one event, just me from the event background in concerts and nightclub, restaurants and stuff, shows, just trying it out to make a good event because I thought the rest of the events was bad and boring. I wanted to do something that looks better. I always think athletes deserves a cool arena because they are so cool, their competition ways. And I did one event and that went good. And I did 2 events and I was good. And I started off and we're doing events outside the affiliate, just doing an arena. And since 2018, I've done minimum 2 events a year. And 2020, we went from 2 to 5, 6, 2 to 6 on 1 month. We
In
just
2000
bought,
in 2020.
yeah,
You did
one.
something else in 2020 as well, a
That
competition, a
is
virtual
sanctioned.
competition.
Huh?
Didn't you do a virtual competition that year, a living room?
Oh, yeah. That
Mhm.
was me, boring, sitting on the toilet. My wife was so angry with me. Because I didn't train. Look, I love CrossFit. Okay, I love CrossFit, but I don't do burpees and air squats and stuff alone in a living room. Sorry, I don't like CrossFit. I like classes. I go to classes. I don't do open gym. I do classes. And I was not. I saw on Instagram everybody doing this home workout stuff, and no. My wife told me you need to figure this out because you are a pain in the ass. And I was sitting on the toilet. I was like, okay, if I'm gonna train, I need to train with someone else. I do a competition between friends. I called Phil. Hey, buddy, can you program 5 workouts? And we're gonna do and we're gonna put it up in the competition corner. I'm gonna do it all the graphics and blah blah blah. We're gonna do 10, 20, 40 people doing it as friends. Hey, buddy, nobody want to do a home competition. What the fuck? And yes, I believe in it. Look at this. Gonna hear living room throwdown. I did a nice picture and everything. And I'm like, oh, dude, whatever. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can put something together. I just throw it out on all our platforms. 2 hours later, 3 hours later, we had 3,000 people. The day after, we had 9,700 people signed up. And I called Phil. Hey, buddy, I think we need to look at the programming a little bit more. And we had so much fun. We played around a lot, and people were crazy, cool, happy, funny. We were kind of the first in the COVID space time to do something. And then I got a call from Matt O'Keefe when we did United in Movement
Mhm.
and everything else together. And yeah, that was really, really fun. Really, really fun. Oh, amazing.
And look, I know. I mean, I know it was COVID, and I know that people were looking for something to do. But 10,000 people signing up for something exercise at home in your living room in one day with no marketing ahead of time speaks to what we were talking about earlier. Is that the chance and opportunity to compete and be active is something that people
Yeah,
they love.
no. It's not that. It's being a part of something.
Even
It's
better.
being a part of. I actually am a part of that thing that keep me accountable of doing something, and when I do this on the floor alone, nobody else around me, I'm not alone. I'm with the community. I'm a part of that big thing, and that's the motivation and the inspiration and the thing you only need. That's the only thing I needed to feel that someone else with me doing this as well somewhere in the world. And I get a text from people. We had burpee over something was one of the workouts. What would happen if we say to people, you have to do burpee over something, 50 burpees over something. What? I don't care. Something. You know what people did? They did burpees over horses. They did burpees over houses. I have videos people doing a burpee, climbing up on the roof, over on the other side, doing another burpee. And people, I have 50 of different kind of thing. That's what people did just because they were a part of something, and I played with it, burpee over something, or ground to overhead with something. And they did. It's so much fun to being a part of something. It's just the reason you need to start moving, and that's the same with competition. I'm going to do a competition in October. I'm a part of something. Now I will focus more on my health and training, and that's so important to yeah, it's important for people. It's so important for people. It's yeah. Now this is me, guys. If you have someone listening, this is me. You give I fly all over the place talking about everything.
No, but it's perfect. It's perfect because that's people can hear you say that and they can see passion and they can see how much it means to you. The fact that you would create something like that, and that time of your life was kind of what spurred turning 2 competitions a year into 5 and 6 and sometimes 7 competitions a year. And as you've added more to the calendar, Have you found that the same challenges exist running many competitions that exist running one, or is it a totally different type of a beast once you have 5 things to be in charge of every year?
The benefit for me as running more events is actually meeting all the problems more often, because you do an
Patrick,
event
mark down that time right there. Clip that.
the December. Are you with me? Yeah, in December to April is a long time, so the small hiccups or problems or whatever happens in December, it's kind of slowly disappears. But if you go back to the new events and you have another event, you can start really micromanaging and micro fixing stuff that is actually both for a financial part, but also how to program, what not to program, how to efficiency of time. We are kind of never late, knock on wood, and because we do
Well,
it
but
so.
my understanding from talking to you is that you have basically created a template for this thing. It's like, and this is I think a concept at large that people can relate to, because I've even said this in the flow of conversations on these shows over the past couple months, is the concept of unknown and unknowable does not have to disappear completely. But there are definitely certain best practices, that I'd call them, that you could apply and create a framework for a competition, which is what I've seen Roger do. That is, the outline of it is copy paste. And because of that, and Roger can tell you guys this in a second, he can tell you a year beforehand how many teams could potentially register for his competition that's happening 12 months in the future, because he has a schedule for a 2 or 3 day competition, depending on what it is, that starts at a certain time, ends at a certain time, allows for X number of people per heat and heats per day. And based on this, he can work backwards and say, I can have 400 athletes at my competition next September with confidence. And then when he opens up his registrations, people know that there's 400 spots. If I want mine, I better get it early, because a lot of his competitions, when they don't coincide with the individual quarterfinals dates, have people on the waiting list.
Yeah, but it's kind of, number one, you need to understand what's your job. What's what I'm doing? I'm doing CrossFit competitions. I'm doing an event. I have a job of providing to the community a competition that is safe and on time and following the methodology of CrossFit and blah blah blah. And with that said, we leave the pride at the door. Me, Phil, Henrik, all the guys, we have said that we are not doing this for us. I'm already been there doing stuff for me. I'm doing this. The business part is for me, but the actual thing that going on the floor is for the athletes, for the members. So we're leaving the pride at the door, meaning that we program for providing a good competition, not a perfect test of fitness. That's not us. That's CrossFit Games. We need 4 or 5 days and 12 to 15 workouts, and that means that we program to be able to provide a safe and on-time competition. And with that said, it's like, okay, we want on a 1-day competition, we want them athletes to be on the floor 26 to 30 minutes. And then if we think it's enough, if we have good time caps and we have tested the workouts. And we're not trying to prove anything on the floor. We just want to give them a nice fun test. Scale want to have fun, teamwork, inspiration, motivation. Intermediate want to have some kind of challenge, but still fun and challenging. RX, they want to be tested, but they still need to be a little bit more thinkable. Elite, get your ass whooped. And we want all athletes to be back on the gym training in 2 to 3 days. And with those frameworks and all the experience we have, we know exactly how much time it takes between heats, between events, between divisions, between genders, changing the floor, moving everything, understanding we shouldn't do that because this is this. Okay, then Phil that mainly do the programming, talking to the head judge, talking to the gear crew manager, figuring out in front that this would be a problem. Phil, can you change the programming? Of course, let's figure it out. We change the programming, we change the gear, we change the movement, and together as a group in our steps, we can 1 year before know exactly how many teams we can have, how many athletes we can have, and we're going to be on time. And the staff and the judges will not going to be as working. They will figure it out, and we will not be late. We hate being late. We love being on time, and I need seconds. I mean seconds. Because that is amazing as an athlete to look at the competition calendar now. I'm starting at 2017 and beep 2017, and they can plan my warm up, my food, and everything, and they know it.
If I'm an athlete that's competing at your competition, when relative to the competition day would I know that information, the times of my events?
1 week before.
1 week before. Last week we did a show.
All
It was
the workouts.
and the workouts. Last week we did a show that was kind of the lessons that I learned from the world tour this year, from traveling around over the off season. And this was one of the things that I ended up walking away with was, people want to know what's going on, including when they're working out or when their friend is working out. And a week ahead of time is great. And I think that is a good practice that others can adopt.
1 week exactly the day before all events we have, we release the workouts, release the schedule, and the workouts release. We started with that 2021 just because we had so many questions on the briefings. We had so much discussions on the floor with the judges, so much misunderstandings and bad performance of athletes and teams, especially in scale intermediate. And we asked, like, how can we figure out how to make the athletes to perform better? Let's take away the part that we need to own the surprise moment. Let's test it out. So we released the workouts 1 week before. And what happened is people can talk to their coach, their friends. What do they mean with this split anyhow? What do they mean with sync on the top? How can we do sync on the top? And they train, they test it out, they figure it out. And when it comes to competition floor, they are ready to perform. That's the only thing we need from them. This time, 3, 2, 1, go, perform. We can't expect from the athletes to know stuff. The only thing that we can expect for the athletes is to perform. And if we can take away some stress and give them a chance to perform better, I think in our level of competitions, the best way is to give them the information before. We give them the workout. We don't give them the flow. We give them the workout, 21, 15, 9 pull-ups and thrusters. And then on the briefing, we have a demo team, and the demo team is serious. It's not there for having fun. They are not there for making jokes. And Phil will hit them with the focus, guys. We do the demo team shows that exactly how they're going to do it, all the movements. And then we take away all the questions about flow and the workouts they already got. The standards is same as CrossFit. We have the movement standards, and the athletes can perform and focus on just performing. And I think that is also a part of our system that people are why they sign up and we sell out. And
yeah, I mean, these are examples of the best practices that I'm talking about. Is one of the things that can be frustrating at competitions is briefings. From a competition organizer perspective, when do I schedule these so that the athletes are getting the information they need and they're not going to forget it all by the time they have to do it 3 days later? How does it fit with when they're competing and not? Athletes, coaches, etc., always trying to manage these and fit these things into the weekend. Some people like J.R. Hall, he doesn't do briefings. He communicates all the information for his competitions electronically ahead of time. And then in the corral, before you go on the heat, there's someone there to just go over with you or your team before you take the floor. And so he's kind of mitigated that. What Roger's talking about is kind of a hybrid. They still have a briefing, but the briefing it's not time consuming and it's very direct. When he's saying Phil, by the way, he's talking about Phil Hesketh with Prepared Programming, former CrossFit Games athlete and a phenomenal programming coach and athlete in his own regard. up there in Scandinavia now. And he takes the floor. He says, athletes, we're not going to brief the movement standards. Those have already been communicated to you, and you should have those answers in the documentation that we've sent you. We're going to go over the flow. Here it is. Any questions about it? No, move on. Next one. And there were very few questions because he was clear in his communication about what this was and what this wasn't. And when it came time to show it, he showed the necessary information. The demo team, like you said, walked through it appropriately. If there was anything to clarify, it was maybe 1 or 2 questions, and we were on to the next one. And we were able to get through an entire division in like 35 minutes, 6 workouts.
Yeah. And the same thing is like choosing who is going to do the briefing. We have a head judge. We have 2 head judges. We have me. We have many people that could potentially do the briefing, but we decided Phil, number one, he has the best English. He's from UK. He have done the programming. He's a athlete that people respect. He's a programmer that people respect, a coach. And as a person, he's a really confident guy, and people respect when he talks and listening when he talks. And if he says something, people are listening. And that's why, Phil, you're going to do the head judge. You're going to do the briefing. I often do the demo team, and Henrik, the head judge, are the judge, showing where the judge is going to be. And then you have everybody that's on the organization, building the event on the floor, showing the athletes how we want it to be done. And if we can do it, you can do it. We are all athletes. We can all perform. We are not asking you to do something that we can't do. And people gives us a lot of respect for it. It's like, I don't want to be on the floor for showing off. I want to be on the floor for showing that I'm a part of you guys, and I do it because I'm a part and I love this. And yeah, I'm not only an organizer, I'm actually a CrossFitter as well.
And all of these things, like what the briefings have become, are a product of the learning over the years that Roger's talking about. The traveling to different competitions, from the small ones to the big ones, the running several competitions, the frequency with which he does it gives him more opportunities to learn from those things. And he's come up with a system that's very efficient. It's not frustrating for the athletes. You get all the information you need. It's, in different places, and it's understood. And it's something that's predictable, where if you want to go and compete again in one of these competitions, you know what to expect. Unfortunately, globally, there's not a lot of consistency with many of these things. I hope that there's some of that changes. But in some cases, and you even reference this, for the movement standards, we default to CrossFit. But their movement standards is what we use, because we're underneath this umbrella that they're kind of the founding entity of. But CrossFit's methodology for doing briefings, for example, is I would call it somewhat archaic. It's the way that it's always been. Here's the workout. Here's the flow. Here are the standards for each movement, and it's long. It takes a while. There are other ways to disseminate that information that people are doing that they have not taken the time to go and seek out from other sources and apply to their own to make those things more efficient. And they could be doing that. And if you're someone who feels like, man, maybe the briefings are one of these frustrating things for me, or if there is just a frustrating component of running your competition, there's resources out there. People like Roger, if you reach out to him, hey, I run a competition and I'm always stressed about this thing. My guess is that Roger will have a conversation with you about it. If he thinks
we do 5 of our own events a year. We have kind of 4,000 athletes a year. And we also do another competitions as well that we help out and reach out for helping out the community. And we do it so many times a year, something that many organizers just do 1 time a year. So and testing out stuff all the time, figuring out how to make this better, how to efficiency this one. Should we do live announcements? Should we do live briefings? Should we do off competition floor briefing? We test it all. We test everything, and we're still testing. We're still discussing. We still have meetings after meetings of discussion. When I'm traveling, or Phil have been on competition, or someone else in the team have been on a competition, what did we see? What did we hear? What did they do that we want to do, or what did they did that we don't want to do? What did that head judge say when he had that briefing? Oh, I love the way that strength in depth head judge briefed the elite athletes at the sanctionals back in the days, where he said, can you walk over the bar? I don't care whatever you do in your burpee over the bar. If you want to win, you jump over. If you want to lose, you step over. I don't care. Get over. And I'm like, whoa, wow. Be that confident and say that. That is pretty cool. All right. And with that, like you can actually
Some of the athletes put that to the test, though.
yeah.
Yeah, I if I'm thinking of the right year, I think it was the Sunday strength and depth semifinal, maybe not the sanctionals. They had
No,
burpees
so
over the bar.
Mm.
And I think it was Katrin David's daughter was there, and she was doing step overs, still moving at a fast pace. But that was how they briefed that it was fine, and she made her decision. But it was clear. That's the point.
Yeah, testing out stuff and listening to other people and have a discussion, and I think that is really important.
Roger, you don't do any qualifiers, online qualifiers for your competitions? Did you
No.
ever do them?
Just for the sanctional. I used
Just for
open.
sanction.
I used open.
Why don't you have any?
Number one, I don't think. Number one, not number one. One of the reasons are, I think it takes too much time for me. Whatever I make, I think is stressful for the athletes. I don't think my competitions need it because it's. I just think I can put my time into something that makes me. If I do it for money, I think I can make more money off putting that time in efficiency, time cost efficiency, or making more sponsors or contacting new people. If I do it if I have a big ass of prize money, and I really want the right people to fight about that prize purse, I will probably have a qualifier of some kind, but I will probably to 99% use something else as a qualifier. For example, open. Just because making less stress for athletes. Because I think it's fun myself doing qualifiers, kind of. But I know it's so stressful for those athletes that's the qualifier for, according to me, are meant for is when they have a big prize pool and you have putting a lot of money on that part, and you want the right people to fight for it. Or as now we have an elite division and also throwdown, and me and Phil was discussing how to get the right people on that, and we just decided you have to apply for it.
You should consult B.Friendly fitness stats database that has will have information on all those athletes for you. So feel free to reach out for consultation. Free for you.
Perfect. I will use it.
It's actually is really cool. The stuff that we can do. We're going to get ready to share some more and more of it throughout this year. But it absolutely could be a great resource for exactly something like that. I think that one of the questions that people might have if you aren't doing online qualifiers is how do you kind of ensure that people end up in the right divisions?
We have two ways. One way is that we have the first day that everybody competes in the same workouts, and the day after, but based on their performance, will be placed in different divisions, or they can just decide themselves. This is the levels of programming we do. This is what we are testing you guys. This is the level of programming, not the level of athletes. What do you want to be tested in? Maybe you have an injured, you're an RX elite athlete, but you have a competition in 1 month, you just want to test yourself. You don't want to do elite. Maybe you just want to do intermediate just for test yourself. We don't decide, you decide. We have this kind of levels. You can see what we want, what the level of test are, and it's up to you what you want to be tested in, kind of. So that's the way we do it right now. Or as you need to apply. Hey guys, we want to compete, and we ask a couple of questions, and we decide if you are ready for it.
Yeah, and I mean, when you're talking about an elite or a pro level division, and maybe there is significant prize money or broadcast or some like a different level of prestige, I could see that having a little bit of a different merit to the qualification process. But for a lot of competitions, I mean, you pretty much know what division you want to compete in. And if you're between two divisions, then you just have to answer one question for yourself. Do I want to potentially sign up for something that is going to stop me in my tracks because it's too heavy, too high skilled, to something like that for where I'm at, and risk being in the bottom or embarrassed? Or do I want to, sign up for something and maybe I'll be the best one in that division, but at least I know I'll be able to do everything and whatever. And depending on that experience, or that question, you can make a decision. When you first told me that, I thought it was very interesting, and I knew it was something I would have to ask you about on this show, because there's so many online qualifiers out there. And again, this concept of every competition doing everything on their own is, it's draining. It's like, it's real for every competition that goes on that has to answer the questions about qualifiers, programming, sponsorships, streaming, events, or like logistics of a venue, et cetera, like, and the list goes on. Judging, scoring, volunteer. I mean, it's crazy. And there's just not that much collaboration happening right now. And then I look up what you're doing. You're running 5 events a year, using the same pool of people, the same pool of athletes, judges, volunteers. Yeah, there's some change over year to year, but a lot of it is best practices learned over many competitions that are just now being applied in a pretty streamlined manner.
Give me one second about this, because I need to figure
Wilmer?
out. Yeah, Wilmer is awake. I will be back.
If Roger's got 2 kids, I was at his place there. They made me this bracelet when I was there, Matteo and Wilmer. Keep it on my desk.
Doesn't he have a third on the way?
I don't know about that. He and his wife are doing 50 push-ups a day for a year, and she I think she originally started doing all of them from the knees, and now she's doing many of them from the prone position. So maybe not. Patrick,
yes, sir.
Have you ever? You've probably never had this long of a conversation with Roger before. Anything surprised you so far that he said?
No, not at all. I mean, Roger. When you meet Roger, in which I highly encourage, if you see that guy walk around, to introduce yourself. He's very, he likes to talk, and he tells you what's on his mind. And, that's one thing I've always appreciated about him. Oh, look at that. You guys definitely look alike. He's got more hair.
Yeah,
what's up, Wilmer? What's up, buddy?
He heard Brian talking, and he like, what? Is Brian back?
Not yet, but soon.
Yeah.
My buddy.
No, he's a good guy.
Roger, we can let you go if you need to do some family stuff.
I'm cool for a couple of more minutes.
Roger, I did have a question though. You talked about CrossFit licensed event, and you might be the only, I guess, organizer that has multiple CrossFit organized events or sanctioned of licensed events. How important was it for you to be licensed by CrossFit, and do you see value in that? And if so, what kind of value?
I think on sales, I don't think it's matters so much. Let me see if I can get this right. We do it for us to have CrossFit as a backup. We can always call and write to the team of CrossFit and ask questions about programming, safety, flow, all that things. And that, I think, is we use it, we do it. I talk to Johnny Mack a lot about things we want to do, especially what we want to test out in divisions or age groups and stuff. And but it's always so for that. As I say to all athletes, every time we have a competition, you guys, we are licensed by CrossFit, and that's a kind of a guarantee for you guys that if you think we do something that you don't agree on, we think to do something that is not safe, or you can always call CrossFit and say, hey guys, they did this. This is an insurance for you guys. But I think I'm a fan of CrossFit, the whole thing. It changed my life to the better, and that's a long story as well. And I really, really want to communicate that, and I want to put that in the face of everybody that's had that experience and had that fun, making that memory for life on the floor together with their friends, and say that this is CrossFit. Find an affiliate, join an affiliate. People that are watching, what is this? This is CrossFit. It's nothing else. This is CrossFit, and as an affiliate, I'm managing an affiliate. We have a lot of tools that we can use. They have a lot of knowledge and experience from it. They are not perfect. Nobody's perfect. we are learning and growing and changing and figuring stuff out. And for me to be licensed by CrossFit, it's a nice stamp for the CrossFit, for the athletes to know that we follow a way of doing it, because I'm not always agreeing with different kind of functional fitness competition styles. And I think it's a good thing, and I want to communicate it. I'm a CrossFit dude, and but I'm not against anything else. It's just what I want to do in our competitions, and they gave me something. I will not be here without CrossFit. They believed in me and whatever I did in on a mountain in Norway. They gave me a chance to show what I could do, and from there I have really tried to do the best I could to be a safe place for the community to come and compete, even if you are a super beginner, scale athlete, or the best people in the world. They know when they come to us, we take it seriously, we take our job seriously, and we really, really want to provide something good, a good way, a test of fitness. And I think with that CrossFit license stamp on our events are a thing for us to line back on if we need help, and for the athletes to know what they are getting into, together with our brand. And we decided to license all our events, and CrossFit approved on it.
Yeah. Which is they have the option not to approve that, correct?
They do.
So I don't think that maybe everyone knows that, but and I think a lot of people would resonate with what you said, of CrossFit having a massive impact on their life, that they want to represent this thing well. I think that for a lot of people, whether it's obviously there's conversations right now about affiliation fees, CrossFit's license fees. It's a real financial number that you have to be able to meet. And then there's this question, like Patrick was asking, about the value on the other end. Bigger picture, Roger, what do you think, or from your experience, I should say, is the most challenging obstacle to overcome in terms of making a competition profitable?
Oh, it's number one is getting the staff in, getting the judges in, for me, it's been tough, especially here in Norway and Sweden, where people have a lot of work. They work a lot, and they have the people that do CrossFit in Sweden and Norway. They have heavy jobs, and they have a lot of time and families, and it's tough to get the people in, and it costs a lot of money and I want to give something back. All our judges and team, they get hotel, they get lunch, breakfast, a Saturday night dinner. And I think the economy, you need to work with your economy. You need to have 100% control of your money to be able to pay venues, athletes, judges, all your fees. Otherwise, you will fuck up. Sorry, my language, and we know those events that's mess it up, and that's just because they don't leave the pride at the door. They're trying to be something who they not are. They are not Budapalooza. They are not Madrid or Dubai or whatever that has many, many, many years of doing it, and sponsors and amount of athletes, and to pay those prize pools or whatever. You need to be really, really safe with your money and understanding it and having control of what it actually costs. And getting spectators, we need people to come and watch and pay an entrance to come in there and see what we are building and putting up there, because it costs money. It's not easy. It's not cheap. So, and you have to have control, and you have to give both spectators and athletes something to pay for. If you give them a good show and you are on time and you have nice equipment, everybody looks good, the flooring looks good, your programming wise, you have a lot of minutes on the floor, people will pay for it. maybe you give something more, not only a competition, like we do in Ostetrona now, like Budapalooza. It's not just a competition. It's something more. It's like me, I've been in all the biggest competitions kind of, except games. That's crazy, but yeah. When I leave a competition as Budapalooza or Madrid or something, I leave with, I'm inspired to work hard. I'm motivated to train hard, and I've been activated all weekend. Motivated, inspired, and activated. And that's why I can pay easily that amount of money to travel there and the entrance fee without hesitating, because what I'm leaving in my luggage, except buying a lot of stuff I don't need, are actually what I can make money on when I come home. I'm so motivated and inspired on how to work, and both on my fitness and on my competition. And at the same time, I got activated on the gauntlet and on the open gym area. So I think what's so important to give to value for money for both spectators, sponsors, and athletes. You need to give them value for money.
What are some of the best things that you've learned in terms of dealing with sponsors and partners over the years?
For me is for sponsors, it's easy. They want to reach the consumers. Some sponsors think it's cool to be visual by the elite athletes, but for my part is make sure that your sponsors are as equal as everybody else. I have 4 pillars in my company. It's in our events. It's the sponsors, it's the spectators, it's the crew, and the athletes. Everybody is the same words, and I want everybody to feel it. The sponsors, when they come, they get nice position, they get taken care of, they get the exposure that we told them to get on the Instagram, social media, newsletters, and everywhere. They get everything that we promised. We don't lie about it's going to come 10,000 people. No, we won't. It come 1,000 people. Those 1,000 people are good, and we have athletes that are consumers, and they will spend money. They know it, and we don't lie. We show them the actual numbers, and I think that is the most important part, to not only try to sell it in and take the money and run, to actually sell in what you have and build confidence. And all the sponsors I had from 2016 are still with me. Nobody have left me. I just gain more, and they're just paying more. Because they know me, and I'm honest, and I talk a lot. But I actually do what I say often. Don't ask my wife, because I say I'm going to make the bed, but I won't do it. But in the events parts and stuff, I often deliver 90% of what I'm saying, and together with my team. So the sponsors, be honest, and give them what you say. If you say you're going to do stuff, do it.
If you could give 1 or 2 pieces of advice to competition organizers out there, these are the things you can do that will immediately make your competition unsuccessful.
Don't be ego, and look at the numbers. It's like leave the pride at the door and understand who you are. And because if you don't expect the athletes to understand, they are not there to understand or be smart. They're there to perform. So if you expect people that they are good enough, they should understand, we don't need to do a briefing. Good luck. 10 points for you. I promise you, you will lose. I promise you will be late. There will be big problems. And
Well, I hear you saying, a lot of the same things over and over. Know who you are. Be realistic with yourself about what you can and cannot do, what you are and are not trying to do. And just this age-old saying from CrossFit all around the world is check the ego at the door. There's a bigger thing going on here than just you or just a competition, like you said. It's about the entire ecosystem. And if you lose that perspective, it's very easy to get wrapped up in other things that can cause anyone really to lose sight of those basic principles. What are you doing? Why are you doing it? Who are you doing it for?
And test your workouts.
And test your workouts.
Test your workouts. What the fuck? Test your workouts.
Well, and that is, I'm glad you threw that in there, because all these other things that you have to take into account, from the planning and logistics from years ahead of time to the moments before the athletes go on the floor, is important for you. But for most of the people that are doing the workouts or watching the workouts, that's the level of interaction they'll have with that competition. And if therefore the programming matters a ton, and if it's well thought out, well timed, appropriate for the division, everyone will know that. And if it's not, even more people will know it.
You will know it. Like, it's so transparent. It's so easy to say, who tested this workout? Hey, buddy, show me that person that tested this workout. What the fuck? Like it's a 10-minute time cap and I'm finishing 3.5 minutes. Oh, I think it's pretty. Or it's a 10-minute time cap and I'm like not even half through and his time is out. Like, hey guys, you just throw something
what's going on here?
Yeah. Test your workouts. It doesn't take time. You have tons of friends that can test a workout. You have affiliates all over the world. Just give them, hey guys, could you do this workout just in the class?
Roger loves testing workouts, actually.
I
Send
love
him
it.
your workouts.
I'll do it. I will
program
do it.
him as an affiliate.
Yeah. No, that's it. That's so important. Like, test your workouts, leave the pride at the door.
And every competition should have Miko's triangle in it.
Oh.
Right.
That would be my favorite competition ever. Were the 3 erg competition I did last year. Was only ergs, 3 events, only ergs, different variation, team of 3. Wow.
Some people love it, some people hate it. Roger is a beast on the machines.
That's exact. No, I'm pretty good at it, but there are people that are so way much better. But yeah, it's fun. Yeah, it's not easy. It's not you can't just throw something together and hope for the best and you believe everything will sort out in the end. People are investing a lot of money. They are traveling from all over the world. They are spending a lot of money, spending time, taking free from work, taking free from family. You need to take it seriously. You need to understand that you have a job to do, is to provide a competition. People spending hundreds of euros or dollars or whatever of traveling there, and you need to respect that. It's like, and we have in Oslo Throwdown, we have 29 different countries traveling to Norway, and people from countries where, like, I know what it costs in Norway. It's an expensive country. And imagine how much of their yearly salary they spend to come to Norway and compete. I'm stressed. I'm putting so much time into making sure that they travel home feeling well spent money. They have been inspired, motivated, and activated, and they are ready to come home and work with everything. So it's we have an important job, and don't take it too easy. Yeah.
Roger, have you looked at the programming document for the summer throwdown I sent you yet?
No.
I sent it to you like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm not there. I'm with Sweden for now.
Oh, okay.
I will look at it. I've looked at it, but I don't remember it.
It's I haven't tested anything yet. It's just putting something on paper.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it, but it's going to be it's soon in my to-do list. But yeah, maybe I'll do something. I'll test one of them tomorrow. Yeah.
Maybe I should test one of them before I go out of town again. Roger, any last thoughts you want to leave people with?
We have a couple questions from Roger.
You got more questions for him? All right.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, we got a couple questions from our listeners. How is the CrossFit scene in Svalbard?
What?
1 second.
Can you pull up the? Oh yeah.
How's the CrossFit scene in Svalbard?
Svalbard. Oh, I think they have a box up there, and I know some guys. Should I know this? Oh no, probably or something. Svalbard. Probably they have in the fire station there, or somewhere. Yeah, okay. It's way up out on the island somewhere. Yeah.
All right, and then Seema, how the heck do you stay warm in a competition in Norway? I froze my ass off.
No, you do CrossFit.
Wait. They
just
have a
go
saying
harder.
they have a saying for the weather in Norway
There's
that I
no
learned
bad.
when I
There's
was
no bad weather. It's just bad clothing, or
Ah,
Yeah.
or low
You need to wear
activity.
you need to wear more turtlenecks.
Yeah,
yeah.
especially with that.
Seema probably should wear turtlenecks based on her picture there.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then Barkley, I think, yeah, you kind of answered this already, but I just still wanted to throw it up there. Roger, what metrics do you review to judge the success of an event besides actually making money? How do those metrics play in the decision to add another event? So I think you pretty much answered all of that. But I still wanted to show put Barkley's comment up there, unless there's something else you want to add to that.
No, it's we always try to work, and we see our look at our appeals. We kind of have a really low appeal system, and that gives us a pretty good answering of the level of our judges and stuff. And yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. Again, that's
And I think that is we are on time. People love people. We can see that people are tired. They have gained their they have the time on the floor. They are coming back. We have people done like 14, 15 of mine events in this kind of few years. And I think number one for us is being on time. Number one, seeing that people are happy, seeing people posting stuff on Instagram, writing to us, both good things and bad things, because I say on all briefings, I love feedback and feedback culture in our company and our affiliate in my life. Anyone can come to me with anything, and I will listen to them and I will take it seriously. And we got a lot of good feedback. And I think people are not afraid of giving us feedback. And if we have people coming back, people write to us that they have fun, I think that is a good way of we have delivered. Yeah.
any others, PC?
That's about it.
Cool.
And the last thing I want to say for everybody, everybody that's in the CrossFit space, if there is a competition somewhere around you, local one, whatever, don't hesitate. Just text them. Hey guys, you need help? Give them an hour, give them 2 hours, give them a weekend, and help out. And that's what we need to be able to continue doing competitions and take care of our community. Don't hesitate. And athletes, I promise all athletes that want to be better in CrossFit, if they go to one event, they will be a judge on one event for whole events. They will be a better athletes. They will understand the side of the judge. They will understand why they need to do some stuffs in different movements. I recommend all athletes that want to compete, go and do your level 1 judge course, join a competition, be a judge, and you will perform better. That is my best tips to all athletes. Be a judge. Yeah, that's my part, last part. Yeah.
PC, make a timestamp of that too. Clip that.
Got it.
Got it. Boom.
Great sound bites from Roger.
Always.
He was just asleep and now he looks wide awake.
Yeah.
It's
What's
gonna be
up,
a long
Wilmer?
night.
He's a good guy. He's a trooper. He loves CrossFit. Try to lift that 2.5 kilo dumbbell every time he's in affiliate.
One day he's gonna be lifting 250 kilos off the floor.
Yeah, this is gonna be a strong one.
All
Yeah,
right, Roger.
all right,
Man, dude.
guys.
Loved having you.
Really
on.
appreciate
Thank you
Roger.
so much.
Thank you guys for being here, for being able to be on it. I love to talk CrossFit, and I can talk for anytime. Don't hesitate. And a good job. We need more people talk CrossFit out there. So it's really, really important what you do. I really, really appreciate it.
Nah,
So
Thank you, brother. Well, great to
all
see
right,
you.
guys.
take care.
Tell
Thank
everyone
you.
else we say hello. We'll talk to you soon, man.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Ha det.
See you, Wilmer.
Ha det.
Roger Gillros.
Yeah.
From the foothills of the mountains of Norway, is what the Norwegian athletes would say. He lives up in the, I would say he lives in the mountains above the city of Oslo. They would say those are still hills. But, in the Midwest of the United States, absolutely a mountain that he lives on. Just relative. But
Yeah.
great to have him on. You've been meaning to have him on for a while, actually. I was going to have him on over Christmas holidays at one point, but had a vacation and a lot of work getting ready for Wadapalooza, so it didn't happen. But happy to finally have him on. There aren't a lot of people, like we said, that are running that many competitions a year and are also doing it with a degree of profitability. Absent of a scheduling conflict with the CrossFit Games season this year, he feels really confident in what they've created and the ability to provide what he wants to provide and make money doing it, which is important. You heard him say that on the business side, yes, this is for me. I need to provide for my family, of course. But on the other side of that, and he seems to be, from personal experience and listening to him today, very good at this. It's not about him. He's not putting on these competitions for himself. He's putting them on because he understands the value that they can have residually throughout communities around his part of the world and beyond there. As you mentioned, nearly 30 different countries represented at one of those 5 competitions alone.
Yeah. He brought up so many great points. And I think if you're up and coming, or if you want to throw a competition of that scale, whether it be like those tier 2 competitions and it's your first time doing it, definitely reach out to someone like Roger. If he doesn't have the answers for you, he definitely can point you in the right direction. And I really like what he said about, we really don't know what being a CrossFit affiliated event does. And I think it was good to hear that they have that feedback that, someone like J Mac is available to tell them
a licensed event. Yes.
Licensed event, licensed event. So we really don't know how that is. For him to have 5 of his events licensed by CrossFit, shows that he values not only the CrossFit name, but what they provide. And it's just not providing a name, they're providing a service too. So I'd like to get a little bit more detail on that. Maybe bring someone on like J Mac or someone from CrossFit to kind of explain what
has J Mac ever done a podcast?
Probably
public
not.
speaking.
Probably not. But I've got reassurances from Chris Madigan that they want to get more people from CrossFit out there forward facing.
He's been around for a long time, and if
he
would be a fun person to hear from for sure.
He was, especially with his background, and he's just a cool dude, and to have someone like him around. I mean, there's probably no one better in CrossFit that knows how to like help out with an event than like someone like J Mac.
He fired me from the 2021 games.
He
did it in the most
nicest
way.
I know, the nicest way possible. I bet you that guy is so professional. Hey Sarah, how you doing? Yeah, so a little bit of sad news. This is second week in a row we've kind of like set our thoughts and prayers out, but
yeah, this one came across this morning. Across at Delray Beach there. This is Myra Brandt. She is a former CrossFit Games athlete, 3 times in the Masters division, and she's been doing the Open at least since 2012, integral part of that community down there. And we can see what it says here, that the hearts were broken with unexpected and shocking loss of Myra last night. Thoughts and prayers are with her husband, their children, their entire family. Things like this, it's life. It happens. When it happens inside your community, you see CrossFit Games there reaching out and expressing their condolences as well in the comments. It's incredibly difficult to deal with, especially when it's unexpected like that. Death in general, like everyone understands that that's coming, but when it comes when you don't have time to prepare for it, can be extremely shocking. And I think the best possible scenario for that is to have a strong community around you. And if you're part of this community, the CrossFit community in your local area, you're basically guaranteeing that you have that. These are little families all around the world. And so we are sending our thoughts towards this community to be there for Jay, Layla, and TJ as they're, dealing with an unimaginable loss today.
Yeah. Again, we want to send our thoughts and prayers, and if you get a chance, if you're listening or whatever, maybe reach out to them as well, and leave a comment. And especially for that community, they're in mourning right now. So, thoughts and prayers. This is a little bit more, I mean, it's still still sad, but we also want to send our thoughts and prayers out to our buddy Scott Schweitzer. A week ago, he had an incident. He actually went to AFib. He's doing better now. He's on medication for blood pressure, but we definitely want to give him a shout out to and tell him, hey, we're thinking about your buddy. And it's been a hard journey for him. Those who follow him, he's been dealing with his weight for a while now, and it's something that he's been battling. And he's been making so many improvements, so many headways in his battle with his weight. But but unfortunately, like I said, he self-admitted himself when the AFib, but looks like right now he's on medication. He's back on the air. Obviously his energy's a little bit low, but he's buddy, just get better. And
and Scott Schweitzer, if you've met him, is as a kind of a human as you'll come across.
Yeah.
I also just love that. I think in a lot of the same ways that we are, he's a champion of the CrossFitters you don't know yet. The up and comers, the fringe games athletes, semifinals regularly that aren't making it to the games. And it's, Roger alluded to this a little bit, but it's the competition globally. It's an ecosystem, and just like any other sport is, where the masses support the elite. You think about baseball, they got single, double, triple A, all filtering into the majors. We have that in CrossFit too. It's just not structured and organized, but guys like Scott are out there making those athletes feel relevant and encouraged for the hard work that they're putting in. Because most of you probably know this. If you even have a chance to qualify for a semifinal, especially in North America or Europe, you're a savage. And you cannot just be doing that on raw talent. Like, you have to be showing up and working hard. You have to be eating well and sleeping well, doing body work and all these things just to give yourself a chance. And Scott's interviewed more athletes that are not games athletes than anyone that I know. And he's an awesome part of this community. So of course we wish him the best.
Yeah. Get better, big guy. I know, again, he's been on a show. So just wishing him the best. Kind of in the same, he's been very open, very transparent about his battles with his weight. And this kind of leads us into another thing I want to recognize is our buddy Hiller. He's working with Athena Perez. I don't know if I have anything here on it, but he's been working with Athena Perez.
I think she put up something yesterday.
Yeah, maybe I'll go to her page. But and she's basically, those who don't know, she's basically employed Hiller to kind of help her on her weight loss journey. So for the next year, she's just committed, and he's committed to be her coach. Here we go. And he's actually doing like in-house visits to her now. So that's great. But
I think that's his house.
Oh yeah.
Because he has that interior, outside of his house is not a log cabin, but the interior, I believe, is
log cabin. Yeah. But
and like this stuff is made. It's been really cool to see. This is cool. I didn't know that he could play the piano. He's actually quite good.
Man of many talents. Yep.
And then there was a segment in the garage of him kind of telling a story from the past and applying it to the present coaching environment that they were in there. But overall, I mean, the stuff that Andrew's been doing recently has been really, really positive. I think obviously this with Athena is a very cool and unique circumstance that's also somewhat public that people get a chance to watch. He's been on the road a little bit, speaking of kind of investing in athletes who have not made it yet. He spent some time with Bill Leahy. If you haven't watched the video that he made with Bill down there, it's pretty good insight into the lifestyle of an athlete who's aspiring to make it to the CrossFit Games and maybe even have a chance to win it one day. And great. And, Andrew's become super good with the editing and making these 20 minutes or so long videos pretty easy to digest. And then he went over to see our friend Keith Knapp, former CrossFit employee who's just opened an affiliate there, CrossFit Fairfield. And I was watching that one. It was it really hit me hard because I heard Keith saying last week I was this, on Tuesday I was this thing, and on Wednesday I wasn't that thing. And I made a decision to open this affiliate when I thought I was one thing, and now I'm not that thing anymore. And therefore, the meaning of this affiliate has elevated. He is using an analogy based on a question I think Halpin asked him about a biblical story of this becoming his lion, the thing that now he's chasing, that's all consuming for him. And this pretty much what happened to me. And 9-10 months ago now is I decided to do this company, B.Friendly Fitness, when I had a very stable job and income. And the week before we were going to launch publicly, that was no longer the case. And I had to reevaluate what are we doing with this thing. And it took on a level of importance to me that was greater than I had anticipated in the immediate short run. And watching Keith talk about it, I see the exact same parallels there. And so, I've had a chance to talk to Keith. I think it's really cool that Andrew went out there and documented this for him. It's definitely worth a watch. The full YouTube video, I would say, is worth a watch. You can get an insight into what I've known for a long time, which is the great things about Andrew, and then also get to learn about Keith. And if you're, in that community over there, I don't know any other gyms in the area, but it'd be hard pressed to find one that's led by someone who's going to do service to you more passionately and professionally than Keith would do. You're muted, Patrick.
What I love about this video that Hiller did is obviously he's gotten so much better at editing, but what the message that Keith has, this is a guy, he says is like, one day I'm working my dream job, director of marketing for CrossFit. Next day I'm told my position is no longer needed. And he can easily be bitter about it. But instead, he's like, no, we're going to be following CAP programming, everything. He's like, CrossFit's still in my blood. It's like, they may not want me, but I want them, whether they want me or not. And I think that's just a great message. It's like, some things just don't work out. But he's, that just tells you the type of person that Keith is. Yeah, he's going to do great. That community that he's going to build, I have no doubt it's going to be successful just based off him and his wife and their family and everyone involved with that. So
that was weird. Whatever happened with your audio right there?
Oh, yeah, could have been internet. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, and finally, this came out today. It was released today. Is Spin's media polls. So I forgot to submit mine, but you submitted yours. And right now, no surprise, Ricky and Tia, top of the polls.
I mean, no surprise. I think that is definitely a surprise.
What, Ricky and Tia?
Yeah.
I don't.
Not.
I think maybe for me, I'm not surprised. Who did you have number one on your men's side?
I cannot remember, but I definitely had both Roman and Jeff Adler ahead of Ricky. Okay. I'm not surprised that Tia's number one. I haven't watched the show that Get With The Programming did with everyone else the other day, but there's no reason to think that Tia Claire Toomey won't win the games this year, and this is what this media poll is projecting.
Yeah.
And but there, for a collection of media personalities of varying degrees of caliber or merit, I guess. To put, I don't know how many people weigh in on this thing, to collectively rank Ricky Garrard ahead of both Roman and Jeff Adler, not to mention some of the other potential contenders, is a little surprising to me. I would have expected either Roman or Jeff to show up as number one here.
I guess it's how you kind of, I don't know. When I look at polls, because I was a guy who I voted on polls all the time when I was a sports information director. I was part of the baseball, the media poll for collegiate baseball and basketball, the media polls for those. And it's all based on what have you done within the last week, or what have you done for me lately? And I think based on what Ricky is, it's not potential, it's not power rankings. These are a media poll. And if you're going to vote, well, Ricky has, he won Wadapalooza. He finished second at Dubai. He had a really impressive finish, I thought, at Rogue. And I mean, just based off the offseason, I think that's where you kind of look at the top 25 is kind of the end of the offseason poll, kind of like what we'll do with power rankings. But I don't know, that's how I would look at those rankings. But everyone has different ways of doing it. I mean, we can actually look at the poll here real quick. I'll pull it up. I think collectively, just 1 second. I believe what are those first place votes right here? The 5?
Yeah. So Roman got more first place votes, but if you look at the total points there, it's basically it's 8 points between Ricky and Roman. Ricky has jumped up 4 spots in this poll from the last time he did it, which I think was before Rogue. So people have had a great amount of opportunity to watch Ricky compete at Rogue, compete in Dubai, compete down under, compete in the team division and the individual division of Wodapalooza. Some people would say this is an excessive amount of competition for one of the best in the world who's pursuing the title of CrossFit Games champion, but it's Ricky Garrard, and he loves to compete. He loves to get out there on the competition floor, and he was deprived of it last year due to the injury, missing semifinals in the games. So not entirely surprising. But if you're talking about recency bias, when you have a chance to see someone that much, and maybe you're comparing it to someone like, I don't know, Jeff Adler, who won the CrossFit Games, podiumed at Rogue, and where he beat Ricky, by the way. You know, he did not compete in Dubai, did not compete at Wodapalooza, so there's less data points there, and maybe you can lose sight of that. But if you're listening and paying attention, Jeff Adler has said very clearly that his intention is to defend his title. And he's up there training in an environment that is as good as you're going to find, with the best mind for strategy and pacing and understanding of the physiology of your body and the potential to apply it to workouts in this sport. And Chris Hinshaw, who just recently took a trip up there and spent intimate time with Caroline, Jeff, and Benoit Boulanger, who's another athlete that Caroline coaches. This guy has his mind very clearly focused on one thing that he's already been able to achieve once, regardless of circumstance. And I think that it's just kind of a good testament to, the state of the media right now. And like you said, maybe it's common in all sports, but do not picking collectively for Ricky Garrard to beat Jeff Adler at the CrossFit Games next year is not giving enough credit to Jeff Adler. And I'm not saying that it's not going to happen or can't happen. I'm just saying that I try not to have that massive recency bias when I make these picks, and therefore I kept Roman and Jeff in the 1 and 2 spots, and I will continue to do that until someone beats them.
Yeah. And again, everyone has their, like me, I didn't submit mine, but I would have had Ricky, and that's just based on how I do polls. Everyone has a different way. Kind of looking at it, I liked how Fikowski moved up a spot. I thought his showing in the offseason.
Well, this doesn't make any sense, actually. It doesn't make any sense that Dallin Pepper and Brent Fikowski would usurp Justin Medeiros on these rankings from last time. That is, if you're talking about recency bias, well, Justin Medeiros showed up at one competition and won it. Granted, it was a team competition in Wodapalooza. What's the justification for a group of media members making a ranking that drops in 2 spots for that performance? It doesn't add up.
Yeah. And that's something I'm pretty sure Spin, and he'll have a couple of those people voting that vote on the poll on his show on Wednesday. But kind of going down the list, really Samuel Quant jumping up 3 spots. Obviously, that's probably
you also think about just who is voting on this, and I'm not sure who he's sending it all out to and where they're coming from.
Well, when you list here, we can grab the list because there's actual link that actually shows you every poll. Maybe he doesn't have them, but
I do remember seeing that in the past. But if you're looking at this men's list here, you can look at where Jason Hopper is on this list.
Correct.
He's 10th, and Dallin Pepper is one of those people that moves up a spot in ahead of Justin Medeiros. Well, why? Why are Jason was 31st at the games last year. He's 7th the year before, 19th the year before that, and he's ahead of Sam Quant. He's ahead of Yonakoski and BKG. That doesn't make any sense. There's no reason for that other than the fact that he was featured on a behind-the-scenes episode on the Savant podcast, and therefore he's present in people's minds. But he has not displayed a consistency at a highest level of competition that warrants a ranking ahead of any of those 3 men yet. Now, BKG is eventually going to fall off, but he was 11th last year at the games and missed the top 10 for the first time. taking a 0 on an Olympic lifting test
Mm-hmm.
because he was competing with some kind of an injury. He still finished 11th. This was reminiscent to Scott Panchik in 2021, finishing 11th place, ruining his streak on one knee with multiple workouts that were heavily dependent on running, which he could barely do. And you have to look at the context of things. And so this media poll is cool, but it's basically a reflection of who's doing the voting rather than how good these athletes actually are.
Yeah. And I mean, I definitely agree with that to an extent. I mean, that's just what happens when you have a media poll.
Is Austin Hatfield on this top 25?
We'll see. We shall see. Well, you can look at the votes. Austin Hatfield was basically 26. Bill Leahy
25. Yeah. And I would actually say that there's, those guys, I wouldn't have been surprised if they made it on here. Is Will Moorhead even competing this year? No.
As far as I know,
whoever's voting for Will Moorhead is clearly not paying attention to what's going on here.
Yeah, they have Chandler on here, who's obviously going team.
There's Noah Olson. He's getting votes. He's competing on a team. So I would say that it's a fun thing, but missing some some validation in terms of who's on this and who's not on it and why.
Yeah, I mean, when you have someone, like I love Luke Parker. But there's athletes that didn't get votes, and Luke Parker did, just based off of, I don't know. I mean, I can name a couple of Europeans that are probably better than. I don't know.
Sure, absolutely, and again, it's there's but the people in Europe, they're not going to get the same level of recognition. This happens in major sports too. You play professional sports. You play for the Los Angeles Dodgers, and you're the best team in the league. You're not going to get as much media attention as the New York Yankees, even if they finish third in their division. East Coast, West Coast bias in the media. So it happens in all sports. It's cool. I think it's great that Spin's doing this. But also I would say, at least I'm looking at the men's list just at first blush there, it just probably exposes some flaws in the evaluation process for whoever's participating.
Yeah, because I did in my last poll when I submitted, everyone that was on the team, I completely removed. Didn't even give them. I didn't even vote for them. And then
in October, when we put out a top 200 globally in October, I'm counting everyone in that.
Yeah.
That has the chance to compete individually. For this one, when he sent it out, I looked at the rankings I had last time, and I immediately just dropped Mal O'Brien off the list. I just dropped Noah Olson off the list, and Will Moorhead and Chandler Smith and everyone else who I knew wasn't going to competing individually. Let's look at the women's list real quick and see.
The women's was there's some names on there. I'm like, why are they on this list?
Well, the top 3 in that order is what I put, and what I would think that most people would put. I would say this group from 4 down to maybe 12 is of massive, massive intrigue to me. Who's below Paige Powers down there? I just want to make sure I'm not omitting
Brooke
someone.
Wells.
Even Brooke Wells. Keep going.
Emily Rolfe.
Yeah, so I would say from Gazan to Wells on this list, which is 10 people. That's a group of athletes this year that has my captive attention.
Yes.
I think that everyone in that list has a chance to potentially finish as high as 4th and as low as 15th. And it's going to be quite an impressive battle at the games in that echelon. For any of those athletes to beat anyone who's listed in this top 3, which is the exact top 3 that I chose of Toomey, Horvath, and Lawson, will be a massive accomplishment. The poll does reflect that well, with a 30-point gap from Lawson to Gazan. There is a big tapering off from her at 365 points to Wells at 223, but understandably there. And I know a lot of people are super, super high on Gazan. I don't think I had her 4th. I probably had her in maybe around the 6, 5 or 6, 7 spot, something like that. But similar names, similar order. I would probably had Emma Carey higher than this list does. I still don't think that people are remembering how great she was a couple years ago, and I think she's going to get back to a level beyond that. Let's go look at the bottom of the list real quick.
Yeah, this is Freyova only moves up 1 spot. Amanda moves up 4 spots, and she hasn't competed this offseason. Kerstetter stays the same. Ellie Turner moved up a spot, and then Annie Thor's daughter, who wasn't ranked, but now she cracks in at 21.
when she's pregnant. Yeah, so she shouldn't be on this list. Jamie Simmons competing team this year. We can remove her from the list.
Exactly.
Everyone else more or less makes sense. I do think there's some athletes that are in the other receiving votes category, namely Angonis and Spiegel, that probably should have been in this list. Mel O'Brien is still getting some votes down there, but it's not very many. So hopefully she'll just be off of the list next time.
Yeah.
And then Emma McQuaid was the first woman out by 2 points behind Fuliano. And I remember she recently posted something that she has the intentions of making this season a great one for her. Last year, she basically competed injured the entire year. She's taken seemingly the whole off season to get right. Don't be surprised if you see her name in the top 3 of the first week of the open workouts as she's done in the past. And if she comes out looking good at semifinals this year, then I think a top 25 is certainly another potential for her.
Yeah, I mean, in the past, Spin did put down who voted. Current rankings, that's February. So media poll. Oh, here we go. Is this it? Spin, that's women, February. Okay. Well, he did it in the past. Well, he tagged them on, and
I think he does invite international media to be a part of it. But just because he invites them doesn't mean that they're going to show up. And there's obviously a higher density of media in North America. Plus, he's involved in a group of conversations with maybe 15 guys or so that all probably have very similar thoughts about a lot of these athletes, which would certainly, if many of those people are participating, then it's certainly going to skew the results for a couple athletes.
So the names that voters, Tyler, Jamie, that's Jamie from Clydesdale, John Young, Sarah Beast, I'm not familiar who that is, Savon, don't know who that is, Chad Schroeder, Cross Iron Magazine, Coffee Pods and Wads, Lauren Khalil, Savannah Fitness, Beaver, Halpin, Hiller, Will Brandstetter, and Spin himself. So that's
not very international at all.
No.
Well, maybe we can get some more international.
I would say you're the most international person on there.
I thought he might have like Jason CF Media or Vix down from Australia, or Jeremy Austin, or I don't know, anyone from there's a big crossing contingency in the UK.
And I think, I think it's like you said. I know Spin has sent invites out, so it's just a matter of maybe those guys just then either don't care to fill out anything or do them at all. So I know he's reached out to people internationally, so it's no fault of him. This is what he's doing based on what's submitted. So, and I failed on that, so I'm part of the problem, I guess. But like I said, completely forgot to submit my poll. So, but either way, I still think it's a cool thing. It brings discussion. I know it's great for them. It's great material for them, and it's fun.
I mean, these things exist in other sports, and they're it creates a great talking point.
It definitely does.
It's so fun thing to do. Good time of year to do it. I was going to do some updated rankings prior to the open, but I don't know. I think there's other things that are taking priorities, so we can talk about these for now. Yeah.
So, but good job on that, Spin. Appreciate your help as always. I think that's about it. Not really much going out for news. We kind of discussed. They announced 24.2 being in the shred shed. So I'm still nothing on 24.3. I would imagine.
Well, when you say you say they announced it.
I'm sorry. Justin announced it. So CrossFit has made,
but he had approval to announce it.
Yeah,
that's how I understand.
He got it from. And if he didn't, oh well. I mean, what's CrossFit gonna do?
Yeah, and so
he's hosting them. He's hosting them.
Yeah, and so I guess we have a location for the second week. There's still no known location for the first week.
Yep. And I still think 24.3. It has to be an international. It has to be, right?
It could be it could be international. There's another possibility that's crossed my mind, is that it could happen at Proven new headquarters to incorporate one of the top women. And if you want to have an international presence there, how cool would it be to see 24.3 Tia-Claire Toomey versus Roman Krennikov?
That would be cool.
Tia has done an open workout against a male competitor before, 19.5 on the rooftops in Miami against Matt Fraser, who she lost to, but no no real problem there because
Exactly.
nobody
Ooh.
beat his time. He was the first person in the world to finish it, and no one beat his time. I
Yeah.
think that it would probably stand up as one of the top 10 best performances that J.R. Hall has ever seen. He often
Yeah.
mentions these workouts to me, but I've never seen the full list.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, that could be a chance to get some international representation while still staying domestic with the announcements, and obviously also feature a new facility and a well-known training platform there that CrossFit has partnered with in the past. So that's my
Yeah.
potential to get some international woven in.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they
Well,
did.
I'm also
They
trying to be realistic. I don't
I
think they're
know.
going to
I know.
Europe.
I get it. But I mean, they had such a good showing when they did it in Spain last year, and in that community. I don't know.
If they
I
do
think
go to Europe and someone hasn't told me that yet, I'm going to be frustrated because I'm leaving Europe after the second week to come back here.
yeah,
And I would have
exactly.
just stayed.
Yeah, I mean, you can still make that. But we could. It's not like you've changed. You haven't changed your flights last minute before. So speaking of which, you did say that you wanted to put a graphic on this, but I wish I'll bring this up again when we on our next show when we preview the season. But I was bored yesterday. I wasn't bored. I'm always busy, but I wanted to
You
figure
got
out. So
curious.
the
We'll say you
tour.
got
I
curious.
did get very curious, and only because you don't keep track of this stuff. And this again, this takes me back to my researcher days when I was at ESPN and just finding obscure stats. And it's one of the things I miss about kind of maybe being a full time writer or not doing what I used to do, whether it be at Barbend or Morning Chalk Up. It's finding these type of things. So, approximate total travel miles during your world tour that stretched from August 17th to February 4th. 63,000 over 63,000 miles traveled, of which 60,000 of those were by plane, and
That makes sense.
2,000 by car. Those are the ones you drove locally. Most of them were locally. There was that one where you drove from Naples to Miami, and these are all approximate, like obviously, and then approximately 250 miles by train. So planes, trains, and automobiles for Brian Friend there. Total hours traveled while in one of these trains, planes, or automobiles, 250 hours, basically sitting on your ass.
So 10 days.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's over 10 days.
240 would be right.
Yeah. And then 207 of those hours were on a plane. That's not counting like in an airport too. So that's just in a plane. 39 hours driving, 4 hours on a train. Visited 8 countries and 10 states. It was 9 states. I included 10. I included Chicago as a state.
Yeah, I stayed
That
there
was
a couple times.
Yeah, you were in Illinois, but all the other ones, so that was kind of a home base. So we're counting that. Total competitions attended 16. So 20 of your 20 stops, 16 were actual CrossFit competitions. 8 of them you were on the actual broadcast team. So they had a broadcast of some sort. And then 6 of those, and then 6 separate ones you streamed personally. Really no broadcast. So
I think the only 2 that there was no broadcast or live stream for were Charlotte Classic and Homestead Throwdown.
Correct. And you're just media
competing in one and running the other one.
Yeah. Basically, you're like kind of media. Yeah. So yeah, he spent 20 of the 26 weeks traveling for competition coverage and or affiliate visits. So
yeah, the stops that weren't competitions should have been in Norway for when we did some affiliate stuff there. Power Monkey Camp.
Yep.
Turkey, where we did some seminars there with Sahir, and I don't know what the other one is.
That's it. Well, oh no,
that's all right.
Wait, no, it was no, you're in Sweden.
Oh yeah, I did it. Well, yeah, Stockholm.
Yeah.
That's right.
Stockholm. You had a kind of a day of just kind of hanging out there. So yeah,
played some awesome disc golf courses there. So
there you go. But yeah, all right, we're at 2 hours. Oh wait, Dewan said Justin should be higher. Yeah. The best, most probable prediction on weather tomorrow is the weather of yesterday. All right. Confucius says, We will have a show, believe, on Wednesday at. Are we planning for 11 a.m. Central, 12 Eastern?
I guess we are now.
I guess we are. Yeah. We'll have a show, and that's basically going to be a preview show of the upcoming season. Like Brian alluded to earlier in the show, was us already having our travel plans for B.Friendly, where we're going to be at. So a lot of cool news, a lot of cool things. So tune into that. And then Thursday, we'll have a episode of Friendly Conversations. We'll announce who the guest is on Wednesday, or maybe tomorrow. Maybe we'll put something out tomorrow. So, but yeah, so don't want to miss either one, Wednesday or Thursday's show. So Thursday it'll be fun.
Look at this chalk on my hat from working out earlier.
Are you just tipping the hat there?
Yeah. Probably. I don't know.
Yeah. So
no, I took it off in the middle of the workout.
You took it off while you're rowing. Yeah. So, but again, shout out to HCR CBD for always supporting us. Use friend 20 off your there, of course. There it is. Friend 20 for 20% off HCR CBD products. That's online. And so support them. Go follow them. Actually, Carl, big supporter of us, big supporter of CrossFit. So, always thank you, HCR, for everything you do.
If you want to try one of their products, I would recommend getting the Relieve stick. It's amazing post-workout. Well, actually, I put it on after a shower, not while I'm sweaty.
You're not as deodorant, are you?
Only you have done that.
I know.
And we don't recommend it. But other than that, it's great. And it's easy to apply. I do not think you'll be disappointed.
No, I don't think so. There's some great products, and I mean, we swear by it. You swear off by it. Carl swears off it, but of course it's his company. But thanks for your support as always. So, and then everyone else that tuned in, thanks. And as always, I don't know. I think that's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all I got. Yeah. So I don't know what to do with myself now. Oh, I'm gonna go work out. Okay. But as always, be friendly, our friends.